However, I just wanted to clarify because there was some confusion and I would be just as confused. So when you go on to the poll and polls everywhere, you do not need to log in. The HSMAI and HSMAIs to get on Hyatt's Wi-Fi. So when you're taking the poll, you do not need to log in. You just start answering the questions. I know on one mobile device, we were having a challenge with question number 1. If you just hit next to question number 2, you should be able to respond from there. So thank you so much. And very exciting. I'll turn it over to Fran.
So you see this gentleman pacing behind me?
He's excited.
He's excited. And I just want to tell you that a long time ago now, what's it been, about 5 or 6 years? I'm going to tell the story, Lauren. Longer than that. So we had a program, and we still have that program. It's been updated. It's called Certified Hospitality Business Acumen. It's a really dynamic online program. We're running a hotel as a general manager in the seat of the general manager for 3 years. And we used to have it live at Lynn University. And Lauren and I, who didn't know each other, were paired up at that start course for 3 days and running a hotel for 3 days. And the first day, Lauren had the computer, and we absolutely disagreed about everything, right?
Everything.
Everything. So, but Lauren had control of the computer, and Lauren put the answers in that we discussed, whether it was what I thought or whether he thought. He put the answers in. And at the end of the day, we were, performance-wise, we were the last hotel. Dead last. So the next day we thought, well, we're getting a little competitive here. Maybe we should do something differently. So we decided to cooperate. I was sales. Lauren was digital marketing. We decided to cooperate. And what was interesting is
we won.
We won the program. And since then, we decided we didn't dislike each other. We really liked each other. So it was a great 3-day program and a great way to understand cooperation and collaboration. So Lauren, it's very nice to have Lauren here, but I'm not the one that's supposed to be introducing him. We're supposed to have actually Rainmaker make that introduction. But I care so much about Lauren, I couldn't stop myself. So Amy, come forward.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm back. I'm Amy, and I am the Director of Sales for Rainmaker for the West Coast. So I'm actually based in Denver, Colorado. But like maybe many of my other technology counterparts in the room, I spend a heck of a lot of time on a Southwest airplane. And not this last time, because Southwest doesn't fly here yet, but we'll get there. Anyhow, so I have this is my third ROCET conference to attend. I went to Denver, Seattle, and then this one, and I plan on going to a couple more. And I just want to start by saying that every single time I learn something new and I write something new down, and it is a lot of the same content, but it's something else that I'm kind of taking away, as well as just getting to meet a whole new group of people. So if you're interested in talking at all about revenue management and what Rainmaker's doing, sitting in the back of the room, and I'm happy to have that conversation with you. But without further ado, I get to introduce Lauren. Lauren is the past chair of HSMAI's Digital Marketing Council and a member of HSMAI Americas. He came up through the ranks in the hospitality industry through food and beverage, hotel operations, and as a general manager of brand and non-brand resorts. Lauren was a partner of a VP digital strategy at one of the top 5 agencies in Dallas, Texas. Prior to that, he spent 13 years as the director of e-commerce for Ocean Properties in Florida. So Lauren, take it away.
Thank you very much. It's always fun hearing that back. It's like I always want to make sure to encapsulate that this is a joyous time for me to be able to speak. I've started consulting, and I talk to C-level and ownership groups and so forth, and you have to keep things at such an elevated position of perspective. You have to talk in very large general terms. And I've had the pleasure of now speaking to, this is a good time of year where hotels have their hotel conferences and so forth, where they bring the teams from all the different hotels together. So this is in that vein of being able to speak at the property level, because heart and soul hospitality is what I love. I've been in it my entire life. And being able to talk with the people that actually are the movers and shakers, the people that really facilitate the processes and not talk about delegating that to other people, is really the enjoyable part of all this, because then you can really talk about real factual and very important things. What I'd like to do is set the predication as to what we're going to be talking about. I'm recording. I was going to do Facebook Live, but I thought, you know what? No, I'll do that later. I did Bonnie's earlier, so you can catch that on Facebook if you'd like. So you're going to get a link at the end of the presentation to go back and play this back for any part that you would like to, because I have 67 slides, 45 minutes, and I do talk fast. I've been kind of known as a fire hose, and it's just going to start bouncing off you after about 15, 20 minutes, but you're going to be like, wow, that's pretty cool. Hopefully, if the videos and everything else work good, we're good to go. If not, it's going to be hand puppets and a lot of conversation. And the conversation is important, because this is an active time for us to dialogue back and forth. I hate going to presentations where it's at you and it's not anything back and questioning. Everybody in this room is smarter than me. Everybody in this room is smarter than everybody else. Everybody does something better and differently than everybody else in the room. Because of that, we have an amazing amount of brain power right now. So as we talk about these topics and talk about these things with digital marketing, it's really to solicit questions, it's really to solicit participation as to how do you see this? How do you feel that fitting in to your process? What I've asked is because I dearly love Tina, and I know Tina for all those, that 13-year portion of it was mainly with dealing with Tina, or Tina dealing with me, would be a better way of saying it. And what I'd like to ask Tina to do is read the encapsulation of what we're supposed to be talking about today, the actual syllabus thing. What are we supposed to be doing today? Yeah, and that little boxy thing, that little blue foamy, the foam thing.
Smaller, that's so, I don't know, I don't feel comfortable talking into it.
Well, talk really loudly. Either way, then, just talk really loudly for it. There we go. Perfect.
Yes, I guess so. Okay, so you want me to read the new dorm? The M now stands for marketing?
Yes, please.
Okay, you will all find out pretty quickly that I'm English challenged because I'm originally from Germany, so bear with me. As a director of revenue management, you may currently be or will be in the near future not only responsible for revenue management, but increased engagement in digital marketing and in social media to achieve your goals, becoming a digital marketer. This interactive presentation will give you the insights and tools you need to monetize all things digital for your property. It will dive into the data and its resources from deep within digital marketing for the first time in terms and processes familiar to revenue management. Take a deep breath. It will include real-world strategies in the use of combining this data with existing revenue management models. Also included are new insights and social data, its use and tactics as it relates to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and more from the new combined perspective. Never to be missed is the introduction of new technologies and are profoundly changing our business models such as meta search. Sorry, I think I need glasses, which I realized for the first time ever. Real-time data marketing, programmatic versus retargeting, APIs, bots, and all. AI, sorry. It's going to be a fire hose of fast-paced dialogue, all to help define the real revenue management world through the perspective of the new dorm with a capital M.
And that's it, 45 minutes, we're done. Thank you. Okay, it's going to go fast from this point forward with this. A lot of this, I'm going to be, first off, ask you all are no longer revenue managers. In all honesty, we're in transition of what we're doing and how we're doing what we're doing. Revenue management, as Bonnie was excellent to point out, is a transitioning process. It went from reservations managers and front desk managers into what it is now. It's progressed and it's continuing to evolve. And what's evolving is the fact is that you've been working in a bubble, and people like me have been working in a bubble, and we haven't been working together with what we've been doing. And the data that I have, which I hope to show you, will hopefully make you go, dang, we should be using that. Because there's a tremendous amount of data that marketing is using. I don't know whether you've ever tried this as a kid or as a stunt, but have you ever tried to get in a car and go blindfolded and drive and somebody tell you how to drive? No. That's what we're doing. You're driving a car blind. Actually, to be more accurate, marketing is driving the car blind. You're telling the marketer what he should be doing, and he doesn't know why, or she doesn't know why she's doing it, or where she's going, or when to turn, or what to do. You're telling somebody to do something because you're responsible for getting there. Okay? We're going to take the blindfold off and hopefully between the two realize that there's a lot of data that you have that marketers need, and what marketing has, you need. I'm going to frame this in the ideas of stories. I mean, for the past 18 months, one of the catchphrases with most presentations is, oh, it's the customer journey and it's the story of the customer. It's just the interesting way of us putting stuff together. The story is your hotel. Now, the story is about what your hotel does, what your team does. I'm asking you to stop being revenue managers today and be revenue managers on a team. And the team creates the story of the hotel. What would you describe this hotel for anybody that doesn't run this hotel? First off, who's from this hotel that's here? Excellent, thank you. Somebody not from this hotel, describe this hotel, please. Just off what's up top of your head.
Large convention hotel in the heart of the city.
Okay. What's that? Corporate hotel. What else? What's the aesthetics? What's the place like? What's it feel like? Modern, luxury. What else? Comfortable, spacious, well located, new, large. Those are words. Those are story words. Okay? I could give you facts. You deal in facts all the time. But what you don't do is deal with stories. There are 5 things Forbes says destroy a business. 5 things. So, let's see if I can do these quickly. Oh, I'm going to be recapping what we do. Okay, this is what we're going to try to do. We're trying to learn the tools. We're trying to value embracing marketing in what you're doing. Combine everybody's business together and do it in a realistic 2017 way. That's our objective goals. That's part of, oh, by the way, slide deck, live show. I'm also re-recording this without you all here in a webinar fashion so that I can state a topic, which is really hard for me, so that you can play that back piece by piece. So that link will be at the end so that you can play all that kind of stuff back. In the slideshare deck and all that stuff. So please, I'd much rather have you ask a question than writing down a note. Okay, so Forbes says 5 things. Problem number 1, we're not really in touch with our guests. Do you agree with that with your hotel? Do you feel like you're not in touch with your guests? I mean, you personally and your team, collectively, because you can't look at yourself out of that. You can't say, hey, I'm in the office, I'm doing my own thing. Does your hotel feel, as a team, that it's connected to your guests? Just nod of a head or a shake of a head. Kind of ish-no-ish. Okay, good. All right. It says that most hotels don't understand their guest needs, don't know what they want. Come on, touch the button. There we go. Don't know what they want, don't know what they desire, and most importantly, don't know their true motivations. We're going to get to that point later. Second problem, no differentiation in the marketplace. What you see in the OTAs, now this is coming to you. Same pool, same beds, even the same rates, no control over your hotel's presentation or its story. Notice how quickly we changed from factual information when we first started talking about the hotel to aesthetic information about the hotel. We talked about conference spaces and so forth into stories. Again, we'll get back to that point. Problem number 3, failure to communicate. And you can see I'm pushing these buttons fast because I have 67 slides to go through. No clear message to your team, no clear message to your guests. What? Just to pause for a second here. Does your hotel have a clear mission statement? Not one that's taped to a wall that somebody cutesy put a few words together that made everybody feel good and you slap it when you walk out the door like a football team. Do you have a mission statement? What is your mission statement for your hotel? Anybody feel like they have one enough that they could actually say, hey, this is what we love to do with our guests? Because you should. You should have a mission statement with your hotel. Your front desk. Do you guys have meetings in the morning, every morning, department-wise? I used to call them NETMAs when I was a GM. Nobody ever tells me anything. It worked out great. The rule was I had, and I learned from the best GM I ever worked with in my life, somebody from your department had to show up every day. Didn't matter who it was. It didn't even have to be a leader in your team, but it had to be a representative of your department. And the rule was everybody had to share what was going on their day, their department. The idea was that when you walked out the door, you knew what the hotel was doing that day. It was a kind of a slice of life, like, boom, here we are. This is what we're doing. You are the fuel to the car. There are people that come to work to clean rooms, fix appliances, serve food, greet guests that have no idea, and I'm not saying this to you in particular, but I'm saying this in general as an industry, have no clue the success opportunity of their hotel. Because we're not sharing that with our team. We figure, you know what, they don't have to worry about that. They're out to clean rooms. They don't need to know about our revenue projections or anything. We're not sharing confidential information. We're being proud of the fact that we, as sales teams, brought in business, as revenue managers brought in business. Those things need to be shared because there's a confidence factor. Because you know what? That housekeeper in the hallway is saying hi to a guest. And there's a difference of saying, hi, welcome to such and such, versus, hi, Everything okay? Can I get you anything? And if there's a language barrier, they learn how to say what they need to say because they're proud of where they are, because they have confidence where they are. And you don't lose good team members to other hotels because they found out other hotels have better business. Because at the end of the day, their world is that paycheck, just as ours is. And at the end of the day, if you're not feeling secure that your paycheck is going to come the next day and the next week, or whether your hours are going to get cut back, because you don't know what the hotel's doing, because you guarantee you, they may not have a number in their head, but they can tell when they're busy or slow. And they know when they've stayed slow too long, what's going to happen. And then they start worrying. And that worry goes into other things. That's taking care of your team. What does this have to do with digital marketing? We'll get there. Okay. Doing nothing is still a decision. Problem 4, leadership breakdown. Kind of goes a little bit to what I just mentioned. You have to make decisions as a leader all the time. What are you going to outsource? What are you going to buy third-party software? What are you going to use it for? What are you going to take as things that should be done internally because you're not giving resources out of the budget and hand it out to a third party to handle it for you? Those choices have to be made as you. What to outsource, who's responsible for it, and that in itself is a big problem because as soon as you go like this, you miss the bullet, isn't it? If somebody goes, poof, owner comes in and starts wanting to say something, whoa, matrix, hit him. Because you gave it to somebody, because you have the get out of jail free card that said, you didn't give me the budget to do this, but I had to hand this to somebody. So if anything's wrong, go talk to the people you're paying the check for, because I did what you told me to do. We do that. I mean, it's human nature. It's not to say we're bad people. It's just it's human nature that if I'm not directly responsible for it, I'm not going to take the blame for it if it goes bad. And so you have to connect the fact that if you're going to delegate it, it's still yours to hand off. It's still yours to be responsible for. And that's a leadership breakdown. Final problem that Forbes points out. Failure to define a profitable business model. I put as a title of this, not getting your story to your guests. I'm going to put all the bullet points out for a second. Let's just touch on this for a second. Okay, these are the 4 bullet points that I put in relationship to this, but I headed it as being not getting your story to your guests. You see the bullet points I have associated with this. What would be any interpretation of maximize your current resources? What would pop in your mind as, okay, I'm responsible for revenue management, I'm responsible for driving top line revenue. What resources do I have available for this? What resources do you use? So tell me, third-party resources, internal resources, what are you using? We talked about them earlier. Marketing intelligence, good, but that's one I want to catch. Yep. Internal staff, yes. What else do you use? They're not supposed to be trip-up questions, by the way. I'm not trying to make anybody feel like, oh, I have no idea whether that's right or wrong. Really, I'm not asking what are resources that you look at. You're sitting at your desk with your keyboard in front of you and your monitor. You got your morning cup of coffee. What do you use? Review sites, okay. What else? Social media, what else? They're all good. These are all good answers. This is fine. This is what the resources you have. What else? If you're a brand, what do you use? You log in. You're pulling your data. You're trying to get a sense. You do the same thing every day that you do every day previous, and that is get a connoiter on what's going on. Where am I based on what I thought I was? What's going to happen if it's not close to what I thought it was? Where else am I going to find future? You are constantly in a perishable product world. You are as good as the day it hit midnight. And after that, you're as mud as it is until you hit midnight the next day. Because every day you have to succeed at selling something that isn't there the next day. So every day you start your day almost from a zero in the hopes that you were close to where you thought you would be and all this revenue resources that you're looking at. So not having a good plan is like running at 100 miles an hour looking at your feet. You're going to hit something if you're not looking far enough ahead. That's where digital data starts coming in. That's where going beyond your data. You work at fundamental structured historical data, length of stays, ADRs, historical demand cycles. You are looking in your rearview mirror while you're trying to drive down a road, remembering what the road looks like in front of you while you're looking behind you. Does that make sense? Because in all honesty, all the data you're using for forecasting is historical data. Everything you're using, sure, it's forecasting forward. It's taking historical data and saying, yeah, in about 3/4 of a mile, you're going to be taking a right. Why do you know that? Well, because when we were about here last year, that's when we took a right. That's what your data is doing. Marketing data is the data in front of you. It's telling you where things are before you get there. And that's why it's so critical to put the two together. Okay, so how do we change our story? Change how you're telling it. This, come on, push the button. There we go. Did it disappear? Whoops, go backwards. Ta-da! Can't read it, all on purpose. This is how we segment our guests as revenue managers. Consortias, wholesale, corporate traveler, transient, this. You know, all this is actually Marriott's. Well, my breakdown, but Marriott's classifications. On branded hotels, what they break down for groups, how they, all the different ways you categorize data. Does your guest walk in and say, I'm a consortia guest? No. Why do we do this? Why do we categorize things like this? I mean, it's pretty simple in the sense of what we break them into categories because our guests have lost the individuality that they represent. They represent categorically a type of business that we figure and forecast, marginalize, determine how we're going to attack when it comes to rates and so forth. Very much looking at historical value. If you're looking at group business and you want to look at contracted group, you're going to look at historical rates, historical demand cycles, historical clients that you've worked with, and that's going to be the predication of how you determine what revenue opportunity that categorization of group and client and guest come from. Marketing doesn't work in these worlds. It used to, only 2 years ago it used to. 2 years ago, we used to classify and stereotype people. We do it socially anyway. When you walk up to somebody, you're already visually identifying them in ways that you understand. And as you talk to them, you would then recategorize them based on additional information until you've created what you think is how you see that person being. And the worst thing we do as human beings is then we treat them that way. The best thing we can do is realize we know nothing about that person. And we know nothing about what that person has gone through or is to be who they are at that moment. And keep open to that is the same thing we have to do for marketing. I'm asking that to be drawn into the revenue world a little bit. Realizing that we still have to itemize them into categories because we can't deal with 1 million people that come through our door individually. But we can treat them individually once they're there and market to them individually before we categorize them. That's the key to this. All right, so this is how we see the cycle of our guest. We do a lot to go over and get them. We do a little bit to jazz them up before we get to them. A little pre-offer, hey, buy up before you join. Hey, we have a suite available, buy up. Send them an email. We do little to nothing while they stay with us. I mean, in the marketing world, almost nothing. And then we do a little bit of post-stay, at best. And these two here have the greatest potential for success because this, if done well in the world of social, is the lifetime value proposition that they represent. Here, you're creating an engagement that goes to the team level. It's not you necessarily having driven them to the door. Your main emphasis in this process is here and a little bit here. Here, it's you passing by a guest in the hallway or what your team is aware of that you're doing can have a huge influence on the success of while their guest is there and afterwards. But your real impression is up above. I threw this next title in just for fun because we're going to add this to a later story. You know, I do go to a comedy thing and they do jokes, but the punchline's not until the end. I'm trying to do the same thing where it's like all this stuff's going to wrap up with a nice little bow at the end of all this. So here, and you're all on, so who's on Facebook? That's easier. Who's on Facebook? Pretty much the room. Okay. And it'll go down from there. Twitter, it'll descend because not everybody works on all the same platforms, but Facebook. And this is how most people see bad marketing. There's a dialogue going on in social, and then we bounce in and just say, hey, we work at a hotel, it's $129 to stay with us. And we're like, wow, we weren't even talking about that. But demographically, we hit the profile. That goes back to that stereotyping of people. These people classified for somebody we think should know this information, and so we shoot them this information, and it's totally out of context. So, with that, this is a recap of the 5 bad points. I'm just going to blow through this real quick. Those are the 5 bad points. 5 bad points that Forbes says this is what makes a company fail. I want to make sure that stays with us. This is an oversimplification of what we're about to talk about for the next 10 minutes. This is you, right here. You know when they book, you know when they're staying, you know when they're leaving. What you don't know is all this. Over here. When did they look at you? When did they discover you? When did they decide to be with you? What caused them to decide? Back to the original first problem. What was their motivation to be your guest? We don't know any of that. We're all on this stuff here. This data is all marketing data. What if I told you that when somebody comes to your website, and this is primarily for those who have independent hotels or have a vanity site for the brand hotel. There is a way of getting it from brand, but we can talk individually about what brand does what for you. That whenever somebody comes to your website, the dates they look for, we can track. So if somebody from and not only the dates they looked at, but where they were from when they looked for those dates. How valuable to revenue managers would you find that data? Knowing these people in this location, Philadelphia, Boston, Toronto, whatever, were looking at your hotel for March 11th through 17th. What would you do with that data? And that's a serious question. What would you do with that data? Yeah, make sure rates and available rates, the ARI data, available rates and inventory were available for that market, for that, because you have now the data historical for that market as what was their rate resistance. You knew that Philadelphia doesn't like paying more than $169. Your bar is at $189. Well, how much of a $169 business do I want? Maybe we should talk to the marketing dude, and maybe we should focus in on Philadelphia a little bit and get a little $169 business or something. So keep that in mind. I'll refer to this because this is kind of the analogy of everything else we're about to talk to. This is the world of social. This is the world of paid online. This is the world of retargeting and meta search, and everything else exists in this world so that this world becomes a reality. All right? Now, we're going to jump over to social for a second. Facebook examples. Custom audiences look like audiences. Anybody familiar with those two terms? Facebook custom audience. I know Tina is. She's just not raising her hand. Facebook is an amazing place. Figure how much data Facebook knows about you. Yeah, I know, right? More than I want to know. Give you the power of Facebook. How many people, well, you know what, we just got to lunch. Stand up for a second. Stand up for a second. Because it's after lunch, so it's like, you know, I gotta move. Okay. Anybody that has less than 100 people following them, sit down. Only a couple, not bad. Less than 200 people following them, sit down. Less than 300 people. Less than 400 people. Less than 1,000 people. And less than 1,500 people. I'm with you. I am a Facebook hoe. Hey, look, a car wash. I'll follow that. I love it because it's amazing the mainstream of conversations and content that you get when you follow a lot of people. Not everybody uses Facebook for that way. The average following in Facebook is 300 people. We have 52 people here, let's say 50 people. And you're all good mathematicians. 50 people, 300 followers are the average followings in Facebook. So how many people does that make? 50 people times 50 times 300. 15,000? It's after lunch. We're giving some tolerance. Okay, you have 15,000, all right? 300 people follow those 15,000. How many is that? Okay, I'll take that one. 450,000 people. Now, Facebook says we are all disconnected by only 3.1 people in the world, meaning that 3 cycles away from me, I can literally talk to anybody that's on Facebook, or in the world, supposedly. Let's not even build that. Let's just take a nice 450,000 people. Let's cut it in half. Let's say half the people that all of us know each other. Half the people are gone. Gone. So now we're left with 225,000. Of the 225,000, half of those people would actually care about what we have to say. All right, out those go. We're at 112,000. Let's make it 110,000, just round things down. 110,000 people would actually act or be interested in what we have to say. Let's cut it in half again. Let's go over and say that only half of those people that would be interested in what we have to say would actually act on what we had to say. So now what's that, 55,000? All right? 55,000 people not only would be interested in what we have to say, but would actually act on what we have to say. Let's take half of them that they wouldn't be able to take advantage even if they wanted to act. So now we're down 26,000 people. Right now, we could make 26,000 people do what we asked them to do, if we all agreed on it. That's a huge number for a small group of people. We have a large digital footprint that exists in our world that never existed before. It used to be before the internet, family, friends, college, whatever, people that you gain job acquaintances. It was a very small circle. Now we deal with literally tens of thousands of people that we can communicate with. This example hit home with me when I was speaking at George Washington University to a hospitality conference. I think Fran was even there. Young girl up front, very energetic. Was trying to figure out how this would all work, and I said, let's put a challenge out. George in Washington, D.C., cupcakes are a big deal, and there's little cupcake shops everywhere. And I said, pick a local business that you guys know that you like that's dead at a certain time of day, certain day or whatever, and go to them and say, hey, look, as a class experiment, I want to go over and you offer me something that I can offer my followers on my social platforms, and see if that generates business for you. So they went to a local cupcake, she did, went to 2 weeks later, found herself and the professor, went to the cupcake place and said, when's your dead time? Thursdays from 2 to 4. Okay. So she asked, buy a cupcake, get a cupcake free, plus free coffee or whatever it was, and filled it up every Thursday for the next month. It was a lesson of the impact that we have as individuals that doesn't require us to be a marketer. It's the impact that we have on the connections we have in social. I'm going to have some examples to show you on how some of that does. Going back to the custom audiences and lookalike audiences. Custom audiences, Facebook knows all this information about you, all the stuff you post, all the things your friends like, and everything else. If you give Facebook your list from your CRM of your email list that you have at your hotel, and say, hey, Facebook, who do you know out of this list? You'll probably get better than half back that says, hey, we know these people. Now, their names you don't know. You don't know them individually anymore. You know them only from the fact that they're a custom audience you've sent them as an email list. So then you ask Facebook, hey, I'd like to advertise to everybody in Vancouver that's at this income, that owns this kind of car, that likes these kind of events, to see this ad. I used to joke that I could go over and advertise to a one-armed Hindu in Amish country looking for Tex-Mex. And I don't mean that to be in any way other than, yes, I could. Because that's such a unique combination, you would not expect that you could isolate that kind of genre of person so uniquely. Now I can actually add to that all of that, plus has 2 daughters, one that goes to Harvard, one that drives a BMW, owns a home that's $150,000, and has an income that's at least $80,000, lives in New York City. And they will see my ad. That's crazy. That's crazy, the ability to get your message in front of people. How many people still do blitzes? You guys, anybody do blitzes anymore? Oh, please stop. Do you follow your company on Facebook? There you go, it's a filter. I used to go over and pay tons of money to my top 10 employers, my top 10 clients. Please let me put my ad on your intranet, that you're offering something to your employees. Forget it. I just say anybody that follows this company, they see this ad. And they buy it. I don't have to worry about messing with people or paying people anymore. And you could do that, to your competitors. You can go over, and right now I can take the address of who's the competitor for here? Who's it? Which one would you like to pick? All right, I'll take that address, I'll circle it within a 1 mile radius and say, and this is what Facebook will do, they'll ask you for 3 different audiences. Somebody that lives in the radius, somebody that lives within 100 miles, or in this case kilometers, the derivative of, or somebody that lives outside of that 100 miles. Who's likely to be at the hotel? Somebody that lives outside of 100 miles. And I can send them an ad. Not happy with such and such? Next time stay here. It's right across the street. You have done it. Events, when you're having, when you do citywides, target the event space. Circle it. Anything within a radius. I'll give you an example of some of those. Lookalike audiences are really the butt of the custom audiences. Lookalike says, okay, Facebook, here's my custom audience. Now, how big of an audience in any country that I choose is within 1% of being identical? What do I mean by 1%? 99% exactly the same type of person. Then down to 90%. It depends. It'll come back and say where we can only get to 96% similarities and all this other kind of stuff. But within 1%, I can have the identical same person that's never has stayed in my hotel in a country now is a new audience. And now all those filters of income and location and interests and all that other stuff are all filters I can create ad campaigns for to target them. Because I figure if somebody already enjoyed my product and they're within 1% identical of this person, then I can go over and send them an ad, and likelihood is they're probably going to go over and want the same thing. That's a lookalike audience. Guess how much all this costs? Nothing. Until you start spending for the ad campaigns. All this stuff. There's even a tool which will be in the link. You can go and you can actually put in all this information and see what kind of audiences you can create. Apply this to your revenue management. You have feeder markets, you have seasonalities, you have business cycles, you have all these things you know where your business is coming from and at what time of year you're doing it. Translate that all into who do I want to market to? What do I want to market with? What do I want to tell them? That's just in Facebook. Twitter gets even crazier. Anyway, so, because I know I'm going to go over this. We're going to skip this example because it's too long to explain, but I made a lot of money at it. Okay. This one, always everyone loves this one. All right, so I lost a group 2 weeks out. 62% occupancy at this hotel. It was a recurring piece of business. I had an attrition clause, didn't want to hit them. It was a tragedy that caused the cancellation. They had been with us for years, was not going to ding them for it. But 62% of my occupancy just disappeared 2 weeks out. Dang, what would you do? Or to enact theory, take your pants and, anyway. So you would drop your rate, hope for any residual demand to market. You know you're going to have buyback from people who've already booked. You're going to put money back on the table, and you're going to have to beg for forgiveness, even though it wasn't you that did it, and you just start crucifying your salesperson on the wall. He did it! Now, the team recognized that this was not something they could avoid. It wasn't a salesperson or anybody. It was a tragedy that caused this. Anyway, so what I did was, this is the use of custom audiences. I took everybody that was on the books. Remember, you have your rivals, right? Download your rivals' emails, throw them up to Facebook, get a custom audience. Sure, didn't capture everybody, but it was a good percentage. Then I took everybody that was same time last year. Well, they used the product same time last year, maybe they'd be interested in this year. And I took everybody that was in a 150-mile radius. I know that's not in kilometers, but it's 2.5 hours drive time, short-term drive market, okay? Wrapped them all together, but I made this audience, the ones that were on the book, a negative audience, meaning whatever I was about to do, they wouldn't see it. Took the group rate, offered it to these people. Ta-da! Does it always happen? No. But it does happen. It's how well you strategize what you're selling to whom you're selling to. It's not about spending more money. This isn't about expanding market budgets. It's about using the monies you're spending currently smarter, because the two of you, being revenue management and digital marketing, know this exists. The marketers, they're sitting on this stuff all the time, and they're just like, oh, I need a rate. What's the availability? And then they post it up, and then you all kind of roll the dice and hope that something comes through. By being smart about where you're spending it and whom you're spending it with, that's when the magic begins to happen. Because then what you need to do, telling them how to drive the car, they're not with blinders on, they're seeing where you're telling them to go. And they get it. And then you share it with your team, and they get it. So everybody's walking around that hallway going, really kick some butt. Because they know what the competitor doesn't know, and that is y'all got a plan. And this plan's working because the place is full, and I have to hire my cousin because we need more people. And everybody wants to work here because it's a cool place. Okay. This is another example. This one I did, there's a conference called Focusrite. And I was to speak at it one year. And one of them called and says, hey, rather than me drive down because it's a couple hours, I want to stay the night. It was like $499. I'm like, company's not going to pay for that. We had a hotel up the road. And I called them. I would say, hey, please tell me you're not sold out. Get a little room. Maybe I can stay. And they're like, what are you talking about? I said, well, the conference down the road. And it's like, what conference? I'm like, y'all don't do reader boards, do you? So I said, well, there's a conference down the road. Anyway, I said, what's your bar? I mean, they even had a lower rate than this. They had a really dirt cheap rate. I said, what's your bar? Bar was $100 less than the rate that was at the other hotel that had at the conference. It was the Western Diplomat, just in case anybody didn't know, down the road from this one. And so I made a campaign that said, hey, as an interest, anybody interested in Focusrite, and then every lead contributor to Focusrite, I mean, it's another filter. I sent them this ad saying, hey, save yourself $100, 5 minutes down the road, and it's on the beach, and it's a really cool place. So did that, and ended up selling out for 7 days and getting a few extra thousand followers on Facebook. So we thought, oh, okay, that was lightning. Ain't gonna happen again. Every 2 years, it comes back to the Weston Diplomat. Guess what? We pull out off the shelf and put back in again. And it still does the same thing. It's amazing that the same thing will work every time. Now, we've gotten better at more filters. We've improved and changed some of the people we're targeting, but the result is still the same. We don't have to push on anything. We already know this is in the books. We already have a strategy for it. It's already in the breach. All right, the food and beverage initiative. For those who have food and beverage outlets, you also want local community involved. It's always hard. Hey, it's a hotel restaurant or whatever it is. For those who have it, this was a restaurant that wasn't a part of the hotel, but adjacent to it. Went through a renovation. Was in a very dense market. 71 direct competitors in walking distance were restaurants. The big currency of the area was drive market, parking. So everybody had valet. So what I did was, and this goes back to me owning a restaurant, best way to fill up a restaurant was to have young single girls for happy hour. Old school stuff. Well, how do you do that? Nowadays, and this is the truth, people will walk in, see a dead spot, hit the picture and go, we're out of here, and you don't even know that the person that killed 20 people walking to your door just walked out and went to your competitor by just looking and seeing he wasn't busy. We didn't have to worry about that at the time. Everybody had to wait and show up because nobody had cell phones and leave afterwards. But anyway, so what we did was I targeted a post, and this was free, didn't pay for this. Put on a post on the site, I targeted age 24 to 34. And if you haven't done this on your Facebook page, or if you don't have access to your Facebook page, find out who does it. It's a toggle function that turns on that says I can filter whom I post to, rather than just location or what have you. Something beeped. Anyway, so I went over and said everybody from 24 to 34 that was single, okay, female, enjoyed live music, show that, and within a 5-mile radius, because you can do that, show them a post saying, show this post, get free valet parking. The place had 150 parking spots. At 5:45, I took it down because I had no more parking spots. 9 o'clock, went to put it back up, didn't put it back up, offered free drinks, because guess what, there's still no parking spots. All the guys showed up. So again, lightning happened once, probably not going to happen again. Anytime we wanted to do something like this, similar to this, variations of this, now you can start isolating people that work in law firms, people that work in medical offices. Look at your radius of opportunity that's around your hotel, and you can target each and every type of business around you in crazy ways. Also comes to where you're dealing with trying to get people to come stay at the hotel for whatever the events are. Target the event itself. Find out who's following that event, and then target them saying, why worry about driving home? We're right around the corner. Go have fun at the event, and then stay with us. Okay, we are running way behind, aren't we, Fran? We're running behind? How fast am I? Slow am I? How much time do I got left? 10 minutes. Shing! Okay. I knew I was going to do this. Yeah. All right. What we lost is keywords. What we gained is attribution marketing. Attribution marketing is to say, this is what Google tells us now, instead of what word was used to find you, what brought them to where you are and what converted. They do this in a nice way, what your most conversions are down to your least conversions, in a string of what happens. They break it down into social, paid, and organic, organic being your website. So what happens is if you put an ad campaign up and they click on it and then they go to your social platform and see what you posted about it, and then go to your organic page and it's an event about it, then that's the connections that they create to show the conversion that generated. The crazy part is nobody's really using this to its full effectiveness, because what happens is the organic page that you usually get driven to has 20 other things on it, and you don't know why that page generated the business that it did. What happens, and the best way to do this is now with technology, we know what the paid campaign was because it allows us to track it. We know the social post that created the conversion because we know what post interaction created it. And we know what page was used to convert for it. So we take all those three together, now you can start refining what you're putting on your page. Never make ads that don't go to a page that are related to it. Never drive them to your home page. Never just post something without it going somewhere. If you're going to put something up, bring it somewhere. And if anything has a thing that says book now or nothing, it's always a point of conversion. Make sure that you put them in whatever you can do. All right, so we're going to have to blow through this, sorry. And you can read that later. Here's an example of residual value. Facebook posted a Halloween event at this hotel. This is the spike in traffic. They also created an organic page for Halloween that the post was directed to. See also the spike in traffic. Then you get these little GBGs going on for the whole year. Okay. Google has a cool feature, and again, not for branded hotels, for the websites for branded hotels. They don't allow you this. You can get information from them, but it's particular to brand. This is specifically to independent hotels and vanity sites that you have control over your analytics for. It'll tell you, if you set it up correctly, the value that each page on your website generates for revenue, if you set goals and so forth up. This thing here was for an event, and it maybe generated a couple $1,000s at the time that they posted it. This whole string a year later showed that that page for Halloween, even though it was nowhere near Halloween, generated over $20,000 in additional revenue. Why? Because it was helping all the other pages in your website as people were discovering more about your property. It doesn't mean because there's a certain event coming up that they're just looking for that event. It might have been for a different reason they found you, but later on retrieved you because this is what made them discover you. That was a long answer for a short question. We'll put this up there, go there. Okay. This is the really cool stuff I want to get done. I do not want to miss this part. This. Anybody use Tableau? Crazy cool program, isn't it? This is in Tableau, just so you know. This will show you where you can pull your data. Remember I was telling you that you can track when people look at dates on your website and where they were from when they were looking at those dates? I said, what would you do if you knew what that lead information time was? This is it. You can build this in Tableau. You can't see it because it's blurry, but this is a slider for your weeks. Picture Marriott, you know how Marriott do weekly cycles? So it was week 1 through whatever, 56, whatever, on this side. So you would choose a date cycle over here. That would change all of this to show your origin cities of who was looking, from where they were looking for those dates. So picture, I need to do business March 1st through 14th. Slide it over there. All of a sudden you have the spaghetti stuff, and you have lead times from those cities, top 20 cities, based on revenue generation, I'll get to that in a minute, okay, of people looking for you during that time that you're interested in doing business. So you now have target cities saying, okay, Chicago's 81 days out for those dates. Maybe we should target Chicago for marketing. So you go talk to your marketing person. Then you use this. So it goes down to zip code, by the way, but it's kind of hard to show. Now I have the top 20 cities for 80% of your revenue based in ranking according to the amount of revenue they generated. Also, their ADR, length of stay, occupancy rates, and average cost of service. Now you have your top 20 markets that are feeding you your interest of what business I should be chasing after from March 1st through 14th. It also shows, and it breaks down by, this one just shows all 20, but it breaks down by each one if you were to click on them, where that business came from for you for that time last year from those markets. And it would show you the conversion that each of those used. So if, for instance, if I picked Andover, Michigan, paid ads, and there was a 3.5% conversion, from a revenue management perspective, I would know my rate of resistance for that market, my historical obviously, and I would know that if I paid into paid, I would get 3.5% conversion. Backing up with your marketer, if your cost per click is $1 and your conversion is 3.5, then it's $30 per converted value, so it's $30 per booking. How much of that do I need? How much money do I spend? You can actually create a marketing budget that will forecast your occupancy and your ADR. Because as you pick your markets and you pick your channel, you can pick the revenue you're going to generate and the cost to generate it. I'll let that sink in. That's my movement, okay? That's marketing talking to revenue management. This data your manager has. For those who have their analytics on their website, so branded is going to be separate categorization. And there's things to do about that, which we'll probably get to. But this is data that's already exists. We're not making pie-in-the-sky stuff. This is already existing data. What is used to get this data is called GTM, Google Tag Manager. It allows you to track for everything on your website, including the dates that people put in, the location they're coming from when they're looking for it. All that data is pullable. And all that stuff can be put on Tableau and creating something like this. It doesn't, I'm not saying I'm smarter to make this because you all are smarter than me to make it because you're already using Tableau. That's faster and better than I have because I just play with it. So if I can do this, you can definitely blow it out of the water. Okay? So, another example. We took all the CRM data of everybody that generated revenue for one particular resort, down to the zip code. We just took all the data from everybody, attached it to the zip code, and said, where did our business come for the past 5 years? And we made this heat chart, which is also free on Google. You can make heat charts all day long free on Google. I'll put the link in the link too. Actually, it's there. Down to the zip code, okay? This is just an overview. We know that there was an expensive resort, so we know the income was a propensity for them to stay. We're not going to, you need a certain income to stay at this place. So we knew there's a correlation of income versus zip code. So what we did, was we created a four-way scattergram. Median income, total revenue. All the zip codes that landed in the lower right versus the upper right. Upper right meant that their propensity for income and their revenue generation were a success. We're optimizing those zip codes. Anything that landed down here, they had the propensity to purchase from us, but they weren't being, this is historical, okay? We're not just picking revenue-generated zip codes. These are zip codes that were created because those people stayed from those zip codes, okay? These zip codes down here, they had the propensity to purchase, but they weren't yielding as much revenue for us. All we did was take these zip codes and send them a nice little thing in the mail that said, hey, you haven't been with us for a while. 30% jump out of all those zip codes. Just by knowing that they were there, knowing to isolate them, rather than sending out this blitz thing in a marketing plan and saying, hey, shotgun, let's kill the mosquito on the wall, hopefully something hit. It's saying, no, these zip codes were underutilized. And we've gotten business from the zip codes before, so let's just target them again. Okay, now we'll go to the really fun stuff if the things work here. Okay, 4 statements I'm going to say. I'll put them all up. I'm telling you right now, websites will be a thing of the past. Very soon. The search box will go away very soon. AI will control your marketing, and video will be your only voice. I would love to spend more time on this, but friends going to shoot me if I stay too long. So, we'll hit him. Yeah, you want to? We have questions? I mean, do we have stuff up right now? I mean, I was hoping you'd interrupt me if you had something. Or did I already just glaze you over now and go, dang? Anything? What do you think about the stuff we just covered? I mean, that data. I mean, it's there. It's just really you talking to the person in your team that's like, hey, you got this data? This dude says you have this data. And, you know, and be like, what, who was that, you know? All right, we'll keep going. Please interrupt me if you find something you want to ask about, though, because like this, we're going to run out of time for this. I'm going to skip this video. I'm going to keep it. I love it. It's basically Magneto running across the walkway and the metal bridge going in front of him. Because the point I want to bring out to this is that right now there are brands that are in their skunk works, their secret stuff that they do, that websites are going to go away. When we go to a website, we go to a portal, a home page, and there's navigation and everything, okay? That doesn't have to be the case anymore. There's so much that's known about us that when we come to a portal now, everything's built in front of us. Because already, and I'll get to an example if I can, Google knows so much about us that there's apps and so forth, that when we come to a website, they already know we're a business traveler at that point. So the pictures are business travelers. The information, the contents about Wi-Fi and shuttle buses and convenience to businesses and so forth. And the offers and the packages are also in real time about business travel. Now, if it was wrong and I started looking at family travel, then the pictures will change, the content will change, and the offers will change. That's technology that exists right now that's already being infused into what's going on. That's what's happening with dynamic websites. That stuff is now no longer a static website. It's all going to be stuff that is built in front of you as you get into the depth of the website. Okay, this is the part, we'll fly through these real quick. Again, that's why I did these ones, so you can always go back and watch them. And I have a webinar that I'll slow down and go through these a little bit better. These are some things that happened in the past 9 weeks that are going to fundamentally change our world. Bots are the ability for APIs and so forth for things to talk to things. Google and Apple unlocked their bots. In the past 9 weeks, now 11 weeks, 11 weeks, they've unlocked their bots. What does that mean? Developers can use Siri. Google can use now Google's Assistant. Okay, you already know about Alexa, and you already know about Microsoft Cortana and so forth, okay? Microsoft is chasing, they're already in 1 million cars. Why are there 1 million cars? Why are all the auto manufacturers making autonomous vehicles? Fleets of them. They're literally building fleets of autonomous vehicles as in their planning strategy. Because we may not buy cars anymore. We might just need a pickup one day and a sports car the next. And we might just buy to have access to that. And so we need to pick up that day. We contact or talk to our bot, and then a pickup pulls up in front of us. And we need to pick up because we have to move a refrigerator that day or something. So the idea of being able to talk and engage with the first person wins kind of mentality. That's why Microsoft is in cars. I do have some videos which we're probably not going to get to play to. Okay, I will play this just because this one's a lot of fun. Where is it? Oh, no, it won't play. I won't do it. Sorry. I don't want to kill our time either. You play the videos because they'll be in the links as well. The video for that one, which by the way, just if you recognize it, let's see. No, it won't play. Darn it. And that is in the movie Star Trek, he comes up and he starts talking to the computer, but the computer doesn't talk back, and then they hand him the mouse to talk to it, but it's the mouse that has to work. And I remember that time, and I thought, wow, that was pretty cool. We do that now, because we talk to Alexa in our home. We talk to our phone. I talk to my watch, which makes people think I'm weird. Well, I'll go say, hey, Siri. Whoops, it did it. Remind me such and such, and it'll remind me such and such when I go to do it. We're talking to inanimate objects now. All right, and then Alexa, that's the example of Alexa. Oh, I do want to play this one. Crap. I hate when it doesn't want to play for me. No, it's not going to do it for me. I'll have to let you go over and play it on the webinar floor because we are going to run out of time for this. Yeah, maybe we can play them at the end because it's not playing through for me on this one. Basically, you've all seen Alexa. You've seen the commercials for Alexa and so forth. Darlene Rondeau from Leonardo made a great statement. She says, Henry Ford was asked, did you ever ask your customers what you wanted? He said, if I asked my customers what I wanted, they would have said faster horses. We don't even know what we don't have to know what it is we want. And it's changing so fast with us right now that we don't even know what we're capable of doing. We're talking to things in our home. Alexa, turn the temperature down to 72. Alexa, play such and such music for me. Alexa, lock the door. Problem is, Alexa, when you leave the house, Alexa stays in the house. Google figured that out. Google's Assistant that just rolled out 2 weeks ago, which is a link in the presentation you can't play, is about your assistant that keeps everything up to date for you. I mean, how many people use Gmail? Do you ever notice now when you have a plane reservation or a hotel reservation that says you want to check in and stuff like that? You actually can plug that into your hotel. So that if people are staying at your hotel, you can actually make that happen in Gmail that says, check me in. I think that's so cool. But they're using that for us now so that you can actually go over and have Google take care of that for you. And Google's Assistant's going to do it. It looks like a little air freshener, which is the joke, that sits in the house like your Echo does. But then when you leave the house, it goes to your phone, which is pretty cool. All right, so talking to inanimate objects, yes, we'll go through that. We did that. Okay, meta-search, real quickly. I'm not going to ask these questions. We're going to blow by these because we don't have time, which is really cool. I think Bonnie has poll everywhere, so you'll be able to do those. You can answer if you go through the presentation deck. It'll be fun to see what you guys' answers were. Okay, and we'll skip all that. Okay, so we went and blew through about 15 slides to go to meta-search. How many people know what meta-search is? Okay, name a platform of meta-search. Kayak, TripAdvisor. Who else? Trivago. Who else? Google. Thank you for bringing up Google. Which other one? Not in the pure, you know what? I'm not going to say no, but not in the pure sense. It doesn't have all the platforms, but it does have multiple platforms. So I won't say all the platforms, but yes, quasi. What else? Bing. Yes. Again, like a mobile, it has some aspects to it. There are over 2,800 meta-search platforms globally. Some you don't even know about. Some of them are related to C-Trip and all the rest of these that are connected to variations within other countries that you can only get access to those countries via these meta-search platforms. WeChat being one of the potential ones is growing as what they are doing in China. Does everybody know how to show up in those? It's scary that most don't, because most people don't know what a 3-pack is. Nobody knows what a chevron usually is. They don't know the variation between your review and your pricing matrix as to whether or not you show up in meta-search. TripAdvisor won't let you show up unless you have the lowest price. Period. No matter how much you want to spend, they won't let you show up. Yet TripAdvisor will basically take your money. All of these have different rules of engagement, but the real connectivity of this isn't so much that you're showing up on the platforms as what does this mean to you in comparison to what we just talked about with talking to inanimate objects. Google used to say the guide was do no evil. It used to be kind of a thing that, oh wow, Google does no evil. You know what their new mantra is, what their new mission statement is as a company? Your ultimate personal assistant. What does that mean? Well, we already talked to Siri, we already talked to Google, and it gives us sometimes choices, right? That's what a SERP page is, a search engine results page. Here's your question, and here's probably in ranking the best answers we have available for you. What it really wants to be is the one answer. It wants to answer your question with the best answer. So how does that fit into all this? Well, eventually, it's going to know where you're going, because it already does, where you like to stay, because it already does, what you're going to do, because it already does, and what is it going to do? It's going to tell you what you need to stay at, where you need to go, and how you need to get there. So when you ask your personal assistant, hey, I'm going to New York, or better yet, your personal assistant is probably going to tell you, hey, I noticed that you're talking to John and in New York, and you think about going to New York on the 24th of March. You normally like staying at the Marriott Marquis, and you're a Marriott Rewards member. This is the best available price for those dates, and you're an American Airlines member, and you fly out of Dallas. Here's the best flight, because I know you don't like flying early in the morning, but later in the morning, and you like an aisle seat and all this other stuff. Here's the best thing. Do you want me to book it? And oh yeah, there's Google Pay, Apple Google Wallet, Apple Pay, and all these other places already connected to these systems. All you have to do is say, yeah, do it. Where do you fit in? They didn't go to your website. They didn't look at your rates. They didn't look at whatever you had. All of that has to be in the systems that are using this. Google has to know who you are for content. Google has to know what your rates are. And all of that happens dynamically right now. Real quickly, because I know we're running out of time. Google Trip app. This app is scary. It connects to your Google platform, and so it knows everything that Google knows about you. The cool part is it runs completely offline. The really spooky part is it knows what you like. When I came to Vancouver, all the stuff that I would be interested in, the food types I like, the places that I would probably want to visit, all popped into this thing. And told me how far away it was from where I was staying, because it already knew where I was staying, where I was flying into, what time I was flying into, the best transportation I wanted to use. It already told me all that stuff, and I didn't even be online once it did that. And you can create an itinerary to know where to go, how long you're going to spend there, all that kind of stuff's in there. Okay. And they solved something really cool, which was, and we'll be able to play it here. We'll just skip past. Google, 18 months ago, was a big deal that you couldn't do cross-device tracking. If I was on the phone and then I went on a tablet or I went on a laptop, I didn't know what they were connected as. All that's gone. Google's figured all that out. You can go from a phone to a tablet to a laptop, and it knows it's the same person. And it knows what to send you to continue the message. You don't have to keep reconstituting your ad campaigns because you don't know it's the same person. It now knows it's you. Okay? This is the scary combination, and I've worked, one of the clients has worked on building this, and I was sitting around the table with Facebook and Google and so forth, building this. These are ads that happen in Facebook called DATs, Dynamic Ads for Travel. You ever click on one of these things and it wasn't a $109 rate? It was like $3.99? Pissed you off. Well, that means you didn't buy it. Now, because of this meta search connectivity, which is really what that is, these rates and inventory and all of this stuff with all the arrows pointed at it is dynamically generated for you. So when you see this ad, it's because you were interested in going there. It knows enough about you what to offer. It knows it has the inventory available to offer it. It knows how to offer to you for all that Facebook information it knows about you. All that gets wrapped up so that you see this ad, and when you click on it, guess what? That 109 rate is available for the dates that you want at the hotel you would probably be most interested in staying at. I felt like I was building Skynet when I was working with them. For those who don't know, it's like the Terminator when they blows up the world. Anyway. But that exists right now. That's actually rolling. Facebook DAT, and you have access to it. It's not like this is still big corporate stuff. Corporate's been playing with this for 6 months. You now have access to doing these things with Facebook. Okay? And of course, with that, you have the mobile version of it, because 56% of all traffic is on mobile, and Facebook is predominantly, I mean, don't be confused. The internet is mobile, and not by tablet mobile, I mean phone mobile. 56% of all traffic is on a mobile phone, search queries and everything. So that makes the internet the mobile. That's the combination between the two. Now, we can't play this. It's called Lucy. Everybody remember the computer Watson? One with Jeopardy? Well, there's Lucy. It's his sister. It really is. It's built by Watson. I have a friend that works in the Watson scenario, and I said, so how's it fun programming Watson? No, we don't program Watson. We teach it. It's seriously considered as a person. Lucy does all this marketing stuff. We'll play it later on, but basically you can shove whatever you want to in it. 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Okay. I still have 5 minutes. Okay. You can shove whatever you want to in this, and it's going to give you an answer. How weird would it be for you to say, hey, Lucy, what do I need to market to generate business on May 11th for at least 2 days stay? It'll give you an answer. I mean, it exists. It's not, it really exists. Now, garbage in, garbage out, if you're giving it crap information, it's not going to go out very well. But you can shove in all the stuff, weather, previous histories, airlift, taxi issues, strikes, whatever the data is, it just sucks it all up. You know, Watson reads more in a day than all the doctors globally read in a year when it comes just to medical technology. That's what Lucy's doing with marketing right now, is just sucking up all this data, all these trends, and nobody's correlated, like weather shifts and stuff. I mean, we're all probably doing campaigns that when the weather goes bad in XYZ feeder market, trigger those ads and offer them something to stay with us. Those are kind of static things that are going on. This is dynamic. This is happening right now where you can ask these kind of questions and it's going to give you those kind of answers to it. So the last point that I made about the 4 things you'd be scared about, video. Okay, these are the 4 stages of video that exist. VR, virtual reality, AR, augmented reality, 360 flat screen. You saw me, I don't know if any of you didn't or not. I have a little ball that was on the end of my selfie stick that I was walking around in the beginning. That's a 360 camera. I told Bonnie this. I had a client in Australia. Australia's a hard market for them, for the US. The US is a hard market for them. There's 2 times that people go to Australia, when they're really young in the backpack, and when they're really old and they don't have kids to pay for to fly. In between is kind of a big gap. So they want more people in between. Their big feeder markets are San Francisco and Los Angeles. And so a different software, which is really cool, Spring and Gate, we figured out people that constantly look at the accommodations, constantly look at things to do, but did not buy. And we're talking about high threshold stuff, like they went 20 times to what to do page and never did anything. They went 20 times to the accommodation page and didn't buy anything. So we sent them, you ever see those little Google goggles? I'll show them in a picture in a minute. Cardboard things? Well, that 360 camera, when you take the picture and video, you put it in your phone, put the phone in, and then you look around like wherever the camera was, and you can look around in 360, like you're standing there, okay? Well, I took 5 videos when I was in Sydney of me placed around the zoo, the Opera House on top of the bridge and so forth, but we did it with a concierge there. We sent these 100 people a Google Cardboard with a QR on it that says, scan here, let us show you why you need to come to Australia now. They did it, they put the phone in, they looked at it, and there was a concierge saying, hey, and they said, look to your left, look at this to the right, whatever. Out of the 100 people we sent that to, 64 booked. That's astronomical conversion. Not scalable, but astronomical conversion. I mean, unless you want to send a bunch of cardboards to everybody. But that's what augmented reality is the best opportunity for hospitality right now. Because VR is all artificial, augmented reality is adding to what you're seeing in real life, okay? 360 flat screen, the same, what I was telling you with the Google Cardboard can be done with 360 video. And if you have any interest, I'll send you a link. I have a bunch of 360 videos you can look at. And then live video, which I'll talk about real briefly. Okay, AR, Pokemon. Best example. Remember we're all like, I'm going to die. But it did open the door of what this type of stuff can do. It showed you what would be cool if you would be able to look and have your reality amplified with additional information. Whether you know this or not, Yelp has had this for a long time in their monocle. If you open up your Yelp app and look at it, you can do monocle and then hold your phone up and it would show you, as you're looking through the camera view, all the stuff where everything's at. Problem is that it's very cluttered and it's hard, but it at least was a start. Well, that's what AR can be doing these days. This is the VR, there's the Google Cardboards. There's the 360 camera I was using. And then, like I said, with Bonnie's first presentation, I did 5 minutes on Facebook Live. Facebook Live, if you want to, the link is facebook.com/map. That creates this. It shows you every live broadcast happening at that time. And when you click over it, it'll show you the live broadcast, plus everybody that's watching it at the same time. I do a live, by the way, you're more than always please invited. Every Friday for HSMI, we do a live video show. There's 4 of us, 4 little windows. And we invite people, we have people from all over the world and all over different hospitality industry join us. And we also do Facebook Live. Now, people watching us live on the platform that we're using is probably around 150, 200 people on average. I do cast it on Facebook Live. We're averaging 1,000 people that are watching it from around the world. It doesn't cost us anything. Facebook Live is used, I have it again, the same Australian clients, when you're doing your dinner specials, having it back into the kitchen where the chef prepares the dinner special for the night. It pre-sells the dinner reservations. You have it with your bartender showing the drink specials. You have a nightclub event that's going on. If you're in support, people love behind the scenes stuff. Your team as they're doing banquets, your team as they're in the kitchen, your team behind the day in the life of a front desk person at your hotel. These are all things that people love because they want to identify, as much as we categorize them in that earlier picture I gave you, they want to know that they're special and they want to know that you're special, that you're just not a brick and mortar building with a bunch of people walking around automatically saying hi to you. They want to know there's a culture, a story to whom they're visiting. They want to know that they're coming to a place that has real people doing real things. When your employee gets a great award, it's something to be shared. Can it be a live presentation? It depends on how your personalities are and how your team is. But it should be in the process of what you're doing. So, I am out of time. That is the link to, oh yeah, I did a bit.ly. That's the long string link. That's the short bit.ly link to this. We'll do the live show for that. I'll have the webinar on it, the slide deck on it, the links we were chatting about, and the videos will also be there. And how bad was I? Oh, it wasn't that bad. Okay. Done. I'll leave that there for now.
Thanks, Lauren.
Certainly.
Now, if any of you are considering a speaking career, like you get up and talk to people, just remember that the one thing you don't do is follow Lauren Gray. It's just too much. So do we have to do a switcheroo, Jenny, with regard to laptops and so forth there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Real quick, I'll do it.
Lauren can probably do better.
So Lauren, thank you very, very much. Whenever I hear Lauren speak, it's like I'm like a sponge, because I just want to take all this in and figure out how to connect the dots between so much that's happening in revenue management and so much that's happening in marketing. Because think about this idea of being able to really, really zero in on that client. And the marketing side, they have the opportunity to do this, but I'm not seeing as much of a connection between the data that marketing has access to and what is happening on the revenue management side. How many of you have your certification in revenue management, CRMEs? Right, so we do have some CRMEs in the room, and I do encourage you to consider getting your certification in revenue management. HSMAI has a superb certification program. With respect, there are others out there, but I think that that theirs is top notch. How many of you have your certification in digital marketing? Yep, we do have